Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Deep Roots Movement. Today, let's talk about the Buddhist Five Precepts and Islamic ethics. It's interesting. Myself, I'm a truth seeker. And I study the world around and within as best I can. And my goal is to learn until I draw my last breath and to constantly be drawing near to my Lord, who is none other than the wise and compassionate truth most high. So inshallah, we shall be successful in returning to the garden together. One of the best ways to learn is through comparing and contrasting. It's very, very helpful to think about other ways of doing things as a mirror for us to think about what we are currently doing. So if we want to think about Islamic ethics, then it's very helpful to think about other ethical systems. Now, what's interesting is that we have this concept of a primordial Islamic tradition, of a prophetic tradition, a broader prophetic tradition across space and time. We have this concept of 124,000 prophets going throughout the world, and to teach people about Tawheed, to teach people about Tawbah and Tazkiyah. Now, what's interesting is so often words get in the way. People get hung up on words like God, like words like Allah, and they assume that everybody should be using the exact same words and that these expressions of Islam should match up with Hijazi era Islam, with Mohammedan expressions of Islam. This is very wrong-headed. It's very disappointing if we look into many of the so-called scholars within the Islamic world and their comparative studies of religion. It's quite shameful in many cases. It's weak scholarship. It's not honest scholarship. It's academically disingenuous. It's focused on apologetics, apologizing for things within the Islamic tradition that are problematic to others and problematic to ourselves, and engaging in polemics or attacks on others. And it seems so often to be gauged, rather than to find commonalities and common points and mirrors for us to better understand ourselves and to know one another, because Allah has made us different colors and different groupings so that we would better know one another. So we learn through compare and contrast. This is embedded within the Quran. I would love to see us have the best scholars in the world in every field, inshallah. On the other side of this storm that we're dealing with, this Dajjalic era, this era of the deceiver, we have to come out of falsehood and illusion and delusion and lies and come into the light of truth, inshallah, individually and collectively. So when we're thinking about comparing and contrasting, I've learned quite a bit from studying Buddha Dhamma, the path of the Buddha Gautama, which is quite interesting. And I consider it to be part of the prophetic tradition. I consider the Buddha Gautama to actually be a Rasul, peace be upon him. And it's interesting when you think about ethics, we can actually learn a lot about our conceptualizations of Sharia from studying the Five Precepts, because Buddhism is a system of ethics. It's got ethical frameworks and tazkiyah traditions within it. It's a contemplation tradition, as is ours. It is an ethical and purification system, as is ours, when conceived of and practiced in a healthy manner. And inshallah, we shall see clearly, see reality as it really is, and see illusion and delusion and falsity as they are, and let go of unhealthy, problematic attachments to false truths, to deluded notions about what is real, false conceptualizations and attachments to people, places, and things that are not realistic and not accurate. So let's think about the Five Precepts. Now, the Five Precepts, it's an ethical framework that was taught by the Buddha in ancient times, 2,500 years ago, maybe 2,400 years ago, maybe 25, maybe 2,600 years ago. And we have to also remember that according to their traditions, the Buddhist traditions, There have been many Buddhas who have walked the earth. And the Buddha is an enlightened being. Basically, he's egoless and he's awake. And the divine names manifest through him is one way of viewing it, perhaps. Maybe I'm not putting this into the best way. I'm still seeking to be able to process this. These are very big traditions. Just to understand Islam alone is a monumental lifelong task. And to understand things in comparison can be challenging. But any worthwhile endeavor is going to have its challenges. So let's think about the 5 precepts. Now we can think about the 5 precepts, this ethical framework, in terms of negations and affirmations. So negatives, so things we should not do not do these things, and affirmations, things we should do, positives. So let's think about the negations. Do not kill. All right? The next one is do not lie. Then do not steal. Do not commit sexual impropriety. Do not misuse your sexual energies. And do not intoxicate the body and the mind. So these are the negations, things not to do. Now, whether we're talking negations or affirmations, we are not to kill or harm ourselves. We are not to kill or harm others. We are not to lie to ourselves nor lie to others. We are not to steal from ourselves. We are not to steal from others, to take that which is not freely offered. We are not to misuse our sexual energies toward ourselves or misuse our sexual energies toward others or with others. We are not to toxify our bodies or toxify our minds or toxify the bodies of others or the minds of others. And others would include other humans. It would include other creatures. Other mammals, entire ecosystems, in fact. Now let's think about the affirmations, things that we should do. So rather than harming or killing, and think about the Quran verse about to kill one human as if you have killed all of humanity. And we can actually extend that to include harming of to harm unjustly. Any human is as if you have hurt or harmed unjustly all of humanity. So, the affirmation of hurting and harming and killing is we need to share with others and protect and enhance others' lives. To give sadaqah in various ways. To not only protect their life, but to honor their life. So we should honor life of ourselves. So we honor our own life. We honor the life of our body. We honor our minds. We honor the bodies of others and the minds of others. We show respect. So honor, respect, love, compassion, charity, all these things are tied together as affirmations from do not kill or harm. Now let's think about do not lie. So instead of lying, we're supposed to be honest and truthful. So I should be honest and truthful to myself. I should analyze my entire life, and I should really think about my thinking process in an honest, clear way. To be as objective in it as possible, inshallah. And to work through issues that are preventing me from being truthful and honest. So I need to be truthful and honest to myself in my thinking, about my thinking, in my speech and about my speech, truthful and honest. And in my actions toward myself and my actions toward others. So my thoughts, my words, and my actions toward others should be as honest and as real and as authentic as possible. Next, we need to think about, so we went through killing, hurting, or harming. We went through lying. So we are honoring and respecting and protecting life, which is the role of the Caliph of the earth. And we are being honest and real and authentic. Now, as far as stealing, instead of taking that which is not freely offered or given, then we should be charitable. We should be giving sadaqah through our smile. We should be thinking kind thoughts about ourselves. Like we need to think charitable thoughts toward ourselves. speak charitable words toward ourselves, not excessive. We're middle path people. We're people of moderation. So we do not exaggerate about ourselves in a positive or a negative way. Because remember, we're being honest and open, and honest and real and authentic. So these affirmations, these positives, these things that we should do, so we should share with others. You know, we should give real charity, not that we're giving to some organization, but we should share our food. We should share our kindness. We should share our resources. We should share the lessons that we've learned. We should share our knowledge. All right. So now we come to sexual morality. So we should use our sexual energy in healthy ways, not in unhealthy ways. So sexual energies toward ourselves and toward others in thoughts, words, or actions. So this means to cultivate our energies in healthy ways. So obviously to not harm. So if we go the opposite with that, we're now enhancing our life force, our energy. We are protecting our life force and our energy. We are sharing our life force and our energy in healthy ways, in healthy, pure ways. So our sexual energy. So now when we are single, we're cultivating our energies. We're channeling our energies through fasting, through positive, healthy activities, through marriage, through marital intimacies in various ways. But if we're single, then we can channel our energies in healthy ways. We'll talk about this in another instance, inshallah. So there are ways that we don't want to just push those sexual energies away, because they will rise up like a monster and destroy us if we are not careful. So we need to be very aware and honest about what these energies are and utilize them in healthy ways and channel the energies in healthy ways in thoughts, words, and actions. So we don't want to be, expressing our energies that could be harmful toward others or toward ourselves. So that might include just wasting off our energy, and looking at things that are inappropriate and cultivating lusts within our hearts. When we're out in public, it could include not viewing others in a sexual manner, behaving as if we were monks in a public situation, except with our wives, or with our husbands. So we want to use our sexual energies in healthy ways, not in unhealthy ways. And then as far as toxicity, we don't want to toxify our bodies or toxify our minds. People generally think about alcohol and drugs. The thing is, those drugs often are pharmaceutical drugs. Matter of fact, for most people, the real toxification is coming through pharmaceutical drugs, and the real toxification is coming through genetically modified foods, through foods that are sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. If it's got the word "side" in it, that means death. So literally, if you're eating foods covered with pesticides, herbicides, and if you're selling these things knowingly, then you're selling poisons. We should avoid those things. That's wrong livelihood. We need to avoid putting those into our bodies, and we need to purify our bodies of all those poisons and garbage. Anything that can toxify the body automatically toxifies the mind and causes cognitive disrepair and problems in our ability to think, to reason, and to intuit. So we want to have clean bodies and clean minds, no toxins. Also, so we don't want to toxify the mind through looking at inappropriate things, wasting our time like on things that are addictive, things that and we also don't want to toxify others' minds by talking in negative, unhealthy ways, by encouraging unhealthy behaviors for them. Like we don't want to encourage people to go down dark, unhealthy paths. There's so much more to discuss in these ways, but the 5 precepts, they are totally Quranically compatible, and if you contemplate them, then they actually will shed light on things in the Quran that you may have missed, inshallah. And you'll better understand how to flow through this life in an egoless manner, to go into an egoless flow state, to learn different ways to dissolve the ego through protecting ourselves in an ethical manner, and then to go through the purification process. So we will be discussing these issues much more in the near future, inshallah. I wish you success in your Tawbah and Tazkiyah process. I wish you all the success in cultivating the strongest and most effective, adaptable, and flexible ethical framework for you that will be of benefit during these times dealing with the deceiver, because the deception is all around, and we need to see things with clarity as they really are, and we need to behave in an authentic and healthy manner. We need to be a purifying force in this world, inshallah. So until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.